What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all the stats of every one of the weapons in CoD WW2. In today's episode, we're going to be covering the brand new assault rifle that was added with the Resistance event called the Volkssturmgewehr. So first up, as always, let's cover some of the in real life stats. This German assault rifle was developed right at the end of World War II as kind of a last-ditch effort. It fires a 7.92x33 Kurz round, which is the same as the STG, and in real life, unlike in Call of Duty World War II, it's actually a semi-automatic assault rifle. In the game, we get a damage profile of 30, 29, 22, which is actually identical to the STG-44 in this game, and that means it's always going to be a 4 to 5 shot kill. Our rate of fire is hand tested at 712 rounds per minute, and with rapid fire we can bump that up to approximately 760 rounds per minute. This means that our statistical minimum time to kill within the 4-shot range is going to be 253 milliseconds, and in the 5-shot kill range it's going to be 337 milliseconds. This is a very competitive time to kill in this game. It's definitely up there in the rifle category. Getting into headshots, we get a standard headshot multiplier of 1.1, which means we get a headshot damage profile of 33, 31, 24. And generally that just means that headshots aren't really going to do much for you unless we add high caliber, and with high caliber it takes our headshot damage profile to a 45, 43, 33. With high caliber, all it takes is one single headshot mixed in with body shots to reduce the number of shots it takes to kill by 1. Moving on to our ranges, this is actually identical to the STG-44. The 4-shot kill range in core game modes extends all the way out to 51 meters, and beyond that it's going to be a 5-shot kill. With advanced rifling, we actually double this value, and it takes it up to approximately 100 meters, which means it's basically always going to be a 4-shot kill, even though without advanced rifling, it's generally still going to be a 4-shot kill. When we get into hardcore, on the other hand, it actually has that 29 damage range, and this is specifically designed for hardcore. This actually drops off to a 2-shot kill at just 25 meters, so it doesn't have the greatest range in hardcore, but once again, if we pop advanced rifling on that, we can double that 1-shot kill potential out to 50 meters. Getting into Hipfire, this is actually tied with the worst in the rifle category. It's tied with the FG42 as well as the BAR. It does not have good hipfire by any means, and this makes sense because the fire rate is so high. If it had a really tight hipfire spread, it would just be destroying SMGs up close. Getting into idle sway, I would say it has pretty much average idle sway for the rifle category. There's definitely some there, and at those extremely long ranges it can affect your shot, but generally it's not going to be a big deal for you. As for recoil, this thing has a relatively high magnitude of recoil, but it's very controllable, very predictable, and it's pretty much just straight vertical. There's very little side-to-side sway, and this means this gun is actually very easy to control, even at very long ranges. I find myself picking people off across the map, no problem with this rifle. Getting into our magazine capacity, once again something that's identical to the STG-44, we get a 30-round magazine with 90 in reserve, and with extended mags we can bump that up to 45 rounds with 135 in reserve. As for our reload add time, which keep in mind, reload add time is the amount of time it takes to reload without any unnecessary animations at the end, this is actually the second fastest in the rifle category at 1.35 seconds, so very fast. It's only beat out by the M1 Garand. Moving on to the handling and mobility stats, our aim down sight time with this is 300 milliseconds, so it's definitely slower than most of the other rifles in this game, and this is what really keeps this gun in check, because up until now, up until this stat, this gun is just simply superior in every way to the STG-44, and the STG-44 is already a great gun. So aim down sight time as well as our sprint out time of 300 milliseconds, this is what really keeps this gun in check. You can't get caught sprinting, you do have to play a little bit more conservatively with that, and this is the one big downside that this rifle has compared to the STG. As for our movement speed, this is standard in the rifle category at 95%, and same thing goes with our aim down sight strafe speed. This is standard for the rifle category at 40%. Moving on to my recommended attachments for this assault rifle. First off, quick draw. Now this gun doesn't gain a huge benefit from quick draw, but it's already so slow that I feel like it just needs it to be somewhat competitive with the other rifles in the game. Next up, in public matches at least, high caliber. High caliber is great on this gun. If you can manage to land 2 shots to the body, 1 shot to the head, it's going to be a 3-shot kill, and its time to kill is going to be completely out of this world, like super fast, way faster than the BAR. In addition to that, extended mags I find to be great. This thing does have a pretty fast fire rate, and therefore you burn through those magazines and burn through that ammo pretty quickly, so extended mags is great on this. And then finally, sometimes I like running an optic on here, so the reflex sight. Now don't get me wrong, the iron sights are great. You'll see some of the background gameplay. I'm using the iron sights just fine with no issues, but sometimes for those longer range engagements, that reflex sight can definitely help. Moving on to a couple example classes I have for you guys with this assault rifle. First up, we have the infantry division with quick draw, high caliber, and extended mags. For our basic training, we have Hunker, and for a secondary, we've got a Luger with extended mags. This is probably my go-to class with this rifle. I use this more than anything else. The ability to just melt people by picking off headshots is insane. Plus, just love having that extended mags. It's such a versatile class. And also, of course, with the infantry division, I find myself strafing around corners while aiming down sight. This is probably your best bet with this rifle since it doesn't aim down sight super fast. And therefore, I feel like this is an excellent setup. And the only other alternative I'm going to offer here is with a very slight adjustment. I swapped out high caliber for a reflex sight, and then I also swapped out the basic training for lookout. With this one, it's designed a bit more for hanging back a little bit. You can see more of what's going on around you on the minimap because of that lookout perk. Reflex allows you to pick those people off at those longer ranges, which also pairs nicely with lookout. And with that, we're going to wrap up today's gun guide. My thoughts on this assault rifle, I personally think it's currently one of the best guns in the game. I think at some point in the near future, we are going to see a nerf for this rifle. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated if that happens. But at this point, there's really not much reason to use something like the STG, for instance, compared to this rifle. Sure, the STG has slightly better hipfire, and the STG has slightly faster aim down sight and sprint out time, but I feel like the upsides for this rifle compared to the STG definitely outweigh the downsides. And with that, of course, I'd like to know what you guys think about this rifle in the comment section below. As for the other gun that was added with this event, the Orso, I will be covering that in a gun guide in the near future. So if you guys are interested in seeing that and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.